My club means the world to me. I brought both my sons up like myself, so we go home and away whenever it's financially viable, and it's almost like a second wife, if you like. That's how important it is. Sad, aren't I?
The introduction of the English Premier League has changed British football culture since its introduction in the early 1990s. Football culture, pre-EPL, consisted of traditional fans attending games and belonging to a community of local people to have an outlet from normal working class life struggles. However, with the introduction of the EPL, football began to become more profit orientated, with top division teams beginning to appear on the stock market, large sponsorship deals being made with large companies, and television rights deals increasingly becoming more expensive with each new contract. Football fans within the culture are left in a precarious state. They created a working class culture that has now taken a new course and disregarded their importance, needs, and citizenship. Football culture has extended to a transnational level, including new cosmopolitan fans that are given more priority than traditional fans and incorporate new ways of practicing the culture, such as purchasing merchandise and watching on the television. The fascination of football culture in this film is based on the cultural citizenship and how it links to the takeover and changes of other British cultures under the influence of neoliberalist capitalism. This film poses the questions: what does it mean to be a citizen of modern football culture? Who belongs in that culture? Who does the EPL try to attract to that culture? What is the effect on the traditional fans' cultural citizenship due to the changes in that culture? And do the happenings within football culture act as a microcosm for what is happening to other British cultures under capitalism?
I would call a football fan somebody that probably watches television regularly and follows their team more by media, television, radio, if you like, and a supporter more than somebody that actually goes to the games and supports that club through thick and thin.
So excited to go to my first game. It was, Liverpool versus Watford, and it was in the snow, and it was beautiful. It was freezing, but it's beautiful. And I remember this little lad behind me, and he was with his dad, and they looked like a proper working class family, and I loved it because I saw a lot of my family in them. And this lad was singing his heart out. He must have been 7 or 8 years old, and he was singing all the chants, all the proper old chants that have been going for years, and it made me so happy. Yet there were these blokes in front of me, and they were in these really posh jackets, and they had loafers on, and they just looked at him with this look like, what are you doing? And it made me so disheartened, because there was this kid, he was 8 years old, he was singing his heart out, and his dad was next to him encouraging him, and me and my brother were good on you, you're singing, you're doing the chants, and he was creating an atmosphere, and he was trying to get everyone around him involved. And then there were these guys that just sat there like rocks.
Definitely, I would think there really is getting towards that prawn sandwich, as one famous footballer once said, that generation that they want people there so they can market their team. Obviously, somebody that's going to have any type of hospitality in a football ground is going to bring a hell of a lot more income in than your average working man. It has become more middle to even upper class football support, if you like.
Men that go through corporations and go because it's a day out, you know, that's not for me what football's about at all, and it's really sad to see that, you know, it's geared a lot more towards that now. I do love it, and the more I think about it, the sadder it does make me. The most pertinent moment for me was when I first set foot in Anfield.
Okay.
I think I felt I had a sense of belonging there and a sense of feeling at home. You know, when you're surrounded by 40-odd thousand people in the same shirts and supporting the same club, that for me was definitely the moment where I felt most connected. I was still only connected to a certain extent.
Football is now a culture industry. It promises the new fans happiness and joy if they support the biggest teams. Hypercommodification is the main contributor to the implication of pathological tendencies upon football culture. It has caused the prices of tickets and merchandise to rise. It has advertised the EPL as a fashion and attracted cosmopolitan fans, which has restricted the access for traditional fans and increased hospitality tickets. It has also begun the process of marginalising the traditional fans. These changes can be traced to the neoliberal ideologies that control the political and business world. These ideologies push for an ever-growing, economically motivated agenda in football and can act as a microcosm for the wider oppression and alienation of the working class in the UK. Traditional fans are left with two potential options to maintain their cultural citizenship. The first, as argued by Dubow, Giulianotti and Walsh, is that they are forced to pay extortionate prices to attend games at stadiums that have lost a portion of their cultural relevance and significance, due to their traditional names being replaced and cosmopolitan fans becoming a new target audience, creating a loss in atmosphere. The second is hope that their team's games are covered on television and then paid to watch those games from home. It is important to consider how the aspects of football culture, which are considered to be attractive by cosmopolitan fans, is actually created by traditional fans, such as the communities and the atmospheres in the stadiums. This connects with Marx's theory of alienation of the working class and commodification. Football culture has turned into a commodity. It is created and used by the traditional fans, while simultaneously being exploited for profit. This causes estrangement from the self and has negative consequences for a person's self-identification. Cosmopolitan fans act as a parasite on people who are not cosmopolitans, and this is shown in the commodification of football and how it has led for football to become a business that favours cosmopolitan fans at the expense of traditional fans. The trends in modern football culture suggest the possibility of a new prosumer customer in the cosmopolitan fan. Commodification has created separation and alienation between football culture and traditional fans. It has induced an identity crisis for them. Football culture has long been an important aspect of British society. Before the conception of the English Premier League, football culture was in the limelight. It was attacked and belittled because of a small number of hooligans, whilst real fans supported their team, joined and created communities, and found a new commitment and activity in life that was something other than family and work. Since the EPL began, hooliganism has almost disappeared, and commodification has taken effect in a hyper-swift manner. attracting new fans and new financial expansions of the league and its clubs, leading to a disenchantment of sorts and a loss of access for the original traditional fans. For traditional fans, the biggest concern for the future is that the EPL would stay on the same profit-orientated path that it's currently on. This shows that the EPL has no place for traditional fans, and it is a testing time for them as they are paranoid at the thought of having to continue as a fan without the proper access to their citizenship.